Hello, everybody. This is Belinda one more time, and welcome to my channel. So today I have a really interesting guest with me today. This is Dr. Dennis.
Oh my
I've,
God.
I know. Well, I mean that's your official title, is it not?
Yes, I
So
guess so.
I've known Tamisha for like years. So today we're going to interview her and her health journey. So I'm sure she's gonna have a very interesting story. So you
Yes,
guys will enjoy it just as much as I
yes.
will. So Tammy, well, I'm sorry, I'm gonna call you. Is it okay to call you
Oh,
Tammy on this?
please do not call me Dr. Dennis again.
Okay. All right. So
Yes.
Tammy, tell us a little bit about yourself before we get into the health part.
So I am 38 years old and
Mm-hmm.
I'm still getting used to that. I'm 38 years old. I have two children and I am Dr. Dennis by way
Yep.
of being a dentist. My oldest child is
Mm-hmm.
10 years old and my youngest child is 6 years old. And I've been married for 13 years this year. So I'm really happy about that. And funny enough, we met my husband at your wedding.
That's true.
Yes, I did. I
That is
did.
true.
I
Oh
did.
my
I
gosh.
did. So you're always a part of my story whenever I say how I met my husband, because my husband went to school with you and I went to, I guess, high school with you and we met again at the wedding. So I always
Yep.
include you in my story every
Yeah.
time I tell people how I met my husband.
Oh,
Yeah, yeah. So that was 13 years ago.
that's awesome.
Yeah, yeah.
Can you imagine?
I know.
And we were friends. We've been friends forever because I mean even before
Yeah,
that. So that's
yeah,
super awesome.
yeah,
Yay!
yeah.
Yay!
Yay. Full circle.
Anyways, I
I
know.
know.
I know pretty much,
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
So okay, so now that you know a little bit about Tammy, we're going to go into her health journey. So tell us, how did you start? What made you start? Like, period. What was the thing that made you say, you know what, I'm gonna start doing something different?
It's interesting because like and Belinda knows this, like in high school I was never athletic. We were like choir and like stuff like that. So I never played any sports. I wish that I did, but I never did. And I had my first child and never was interested in working out. Ever so often you'd like buy a video or something like that and try to do something for a little bit, but I never really exercised. And then I had my second daughter in 2014. And when I had her, it was like at the beginning, I was like, okay, well, you can make an excuse as to why, you don't look the same anymore for so long before it's like your baby can be only a
Mm-hmm.
certain age before you can like use that as, well, I just had a baby, right? And life
Listen.
is exactly like, I mean, like I've met people and they're like 2 years later, it's like, well, I mean, at some point you can't really use the I'm losing the baby fat thing. And I wouldn't call myself overweight, but I'm not that tall. I mean, I'm 5'3", but like at my highest weight, I started to be like, maybe it's time for you to do something about that. Because of course, as you get older, I mean, you have to start making some decisions. And that's the way that I kind of look at it, because you don't have the metabolism of a 20-year-old anymore. You can't eat McDonald's every day and then it be okay. It starts to kind of catch up with you. And
Mm-hmm.
not only that, just health wise, you start to feel different. So when I had my daughter,
Yep.
I want to say I was 34. I was 34 when I had my 6-year-old now.
Mm-hmm.
And is that right math? I don't know. I think so. I think so. But
I'm just trying to.
no, I have to calculate that, right? No, it's funny. It's 6 years.
Yo, for real.
Yeah. And I don't know. My husband tries to take credit for it, to tell me that somehow he had some sort of influence in telling me it's time to work out. But I just decided, I had been eyeballing this place. It's called Orange Theory, that was down the street from my house for like, I mean, I was looking at the times in which they had classes and all that stuff. And I just kept talking about it and never did it. And then one day I was like, I'm going to do it. And then I don't know, it started off and I only had one goal. And every time people ask me like, what they
Hey, I
should do.
lost your audio.
You lost my audio? Oh no. Let me just start from where I ended from. How
Yeah,
about
no,
that?
right? Yeah.
Yeah. So I had my last baby. I was ready to go. I was like, I can't keep baby weight on me for an eternity. It's like one of those things where you have this epiphany that you have to do something. If you don't do something, you're literally forking, like this is the way where you do nothing and this is the way where you do something, right? So if you don't do that, I think naturally getting older, is just going to catch up with you. And I just decided that's not what I wanted to do. So I started to go to Orange Theory, and it literally was like 5 minutes down the street from me. And I had only one goal, and the goal was to show up. I was like, I don't know what I'm going to do when I get there, but I'm going to go. And at first it was, I want to go 3 days a week. And it's if anybody's ever done Orange Theory is like more like cross training. So it's not as intense as CrossFit, but they have like a weight part and a running part and a roll part. And it used to kick my butt every single time. I thought I was going to die. I thought I was out of breath, but I said I was going to go. And I didn't really have like a weight goal to lose or anything like that. But I just decided to go consistently. And I don't know, I started to love it. I mean, to the point that I was going 6 days a week. I had to force myself not to go 7 days a week. I wanted to go all the time, because then I started to enjoy how I saw my body changing. So that's really like, I can't even do an Orange Theory class right now, but it was great. I'd probably die if I went back, but it was so much fun. Like it was different. It was like the first time I had ever been consistent with anything.
Right. Oh, that's awesome. That's awesome.
Yeah.
So now, like, what was like, so you started going, at first it was 3 days and then it was 6 days. Like, how long between that transition between 3 to 6 days that you
So I think that I want to say that happened pretty quickly, because I fell in love with it. It was fun. I was having a good time. I would say, because occasionally people ask me like, what did I do? And I say, always make uninterruptible time. Like you have to make it in a time. I mean, remember at the time my baby was like she was like 6 months old. I still had a 6-year-old. I mean, it's not, I still worked. I had 2 offices at the time, and I was still working full time, 4.5 days a week. But I had to create a time that was uninterruptible. And once I had that, it didn't matter how many days a week I went, because it was I went at 5 a.m. Sometimes I would go at 6 a.m., but for the most part, like I could do that and still get home, get the kids ready for school. Yep. So that transition between going 3, I would say within a month, I was already, going regularly and liking it. And I mean, liking it. And I started to change kind of the way that I was eating also, which also made like a huge difference for me too.
Okay. So a couple of things with that one. So how hard, or how did you, well, I'm assuming that you were waking up early anyway to go to the office, right? So like, what time did you have to wake up earlier to go? And if so, like, how did you motivate yourself, or what did you tell yourself in order to push yourself to do that? Was it easy? Was it hard?
First of all, caffeine is a great thing.
Yeah, you ain't a lie.
So that helps. I mean, not all of it is healthy. I'm still trying to find the balance, how much caffeine I need to wake up as early as I need to get there. But to be honest with you, after a while, I started to look forward to it, and it didn't become so hard. In the beginning, I did need to take a pre-workout. I mean, I took some unhealthy stuff. I don't know how unhealthy, but I took hydroxycut. Hydroxycut is not good. I'm not saying it's good, but it has a lot of caffeine in it. And in the beginning, that helped me when I was like dragging out of bed. And then after a while, it's like you don't need that anymore, because now you're like I'm up at 4:45 and I'm ready to go, like as opposed to I was never a workout person before, so it was like really just enjoying the workout. And once I started to enjoy and look forward to it and feel how good it made me, I didn't need as many stimulants to make it like happen anymore. Like it just, and plus when you have like a business and busy life, you're already accustomed to having to, like, this has to be done at this time, or this and this, that. You have a young kid, you have things to do, you have to get them done at that time. It was not optional. If I wasn't going to go at that time, I'm not going to go. Like if I didn't go at 5 or 6, there was no going. There was no going.
How did you change your diet, your the way of eating? You said that you started to change that over.
Now, everything I'm saying is my elementary level. Like I am not doing any of this stuff anymore as much as I did, but I was intermittent fasting. Okay. I don't remember how I found out about intermittent fasting, but intermittent fasting was so easy for me. Again, like busy life, I had to do the easiest thing that I could do. And the easiest thing that I could do was not eat until noon. Like it's really that easy. It's like, and a lot of people want to say it's like skipping breakfast and all that. It's not really skipping breakfast, because you're in a conscious kind of place where you are allowing your body to eat the fat, you're allowing your body to do reparative things, and like allowing your body to have a good time for healing from digestion. So there's a lot of different things good about intermittent fasting, but that's what I was doing. I was just intermittent fasting. Now that went against what my coach at the time, when I say my coach, I mean the coaches at the gym, were saying, like, no, when you get home, you got to eat something right away. And I wasn't doing any of that. I was just, I was doing what I knew: show up to the gym and don't eat till noon. And my husband started doing it too, so it was a lot easier for me to keep up with that. But that was as simple as it was. I was not even changing really. I won't say I was trying to cut out any food, except just trying to follow intermittent fasting. Because remember, you're cutting out a lot of calories just by not doing that. And that already, I mean, I started to slim down pretty quickly, like after that.
Okay, so again, just to remind myself and maybe the viewers, so how long ago did you start this process again? This was like in
2015.
2015. Okay, so this is 5 years ago that you started intermittent fasting. Okay, cool. So now, how much did you see, like in terms of weight loss or what have you? Like, what was the number that you saw?
So I would say that, again, like I said, I'm like 5'3". I would say like at my heaviest, I was 145. Okay. And one time, I know a lot of people are gonna be like, oh, that's not that heavy, blah, blah, blah. But when you're shorter, everything shows on you. Yeah. And one day I went, and I forgot to say this in the beginning. One day, my husband and I and our kids, we went to a pumpkin patch, and we took this picture, and we're sitting on this like bench. And I was like, oh my God, why do I look like that? I hated the picture so much. And that was one of the like things that I was like, okay, well, you got to do something. My baby was a baby at that time. Like she was like 4 or 5 months old. And I saw that. So once I saw that, like, you know, a lot of, because especially with women, we bloat a lot. So you're not really sure like how much of that is fat, how much of that is water, how much of that is hormonal. So once I started to slim down, I started to see my stomach get flatter. Of course, my digestion was better because I was intermittent fasting. So I would say in the first 8 months or so, I lost like 12 pounds. Because I remember my husband lost like 20 pounds and I lost like 12 pounds, and we were just intermittent fasting. That's it. Like we were still eating whatever in the evening, and we ate out a lot because we were really busy. But yeah, I would say I lost in the first 8 months 12 pounds, because I remember saying, oh my goodness, because people would be like, oh wow, you lost weight, and I was like, oh yeah, I did.
And you know, this is one of the reasons why I really wanted to interview you, because usually we think of weight loss as huge numbers, like 50 pounds, 80 pounds, and 100 pounds. And it's not always like that, because it's different from one person to the next, right? Yeah. You were never a heavy person. No. You know what I mean? So, but then you actually, after you had the baby, obviously you have the mom, you know, the
No, actually, I am a weirdo, because when I have children, I don't gain weight. I throw up my whole pregnancy, so I get smaller. And then because I'm starved, yes. My first daughter, I only gained 12 pounds. In fact, even my second one, my doctor kept saying, you're losing weight on every appointment, because I throw up so much. So what happens is I'm so hungry. By the time the baby is born, I gain all of my weight on the back end. Yes, because I never eat. I don't get to eat.
Crazy.
It's ridiculous.
Oh my gosh.
It's so ridiculous.
Okay.
Like if you see, if you see what I look like the week before I took pregnancy pictures, the week before my daughter's born, like I don't look like I'm 5 or 6 months pregnant, because I throw up so much. Like so even on Zofran. Yeah. So now when the baby comes, oh, I'm ready to go. I'm eating like crazy. I'm like both pregnancies, it was the same. I was like starving the whole time. And afterwards, I'm so hungry. Like I gain all my weight then. So that's usually when the pounds start to come off, which makes absolutely no sense, because, you know, most people, it's the opposite.
Right.
So, yeah.
Wow. Well, that's interesting. Well, again, everybody's journey is different, right?
I don't know. Maybe somebody out there has a similar understanding of my situation, but
maybe. I mean, but it makes sense, because if you have hyperemesis, then there is absolutely no way that you can gain weight if everything you put in your mouth is throwing up. So I mean, that makes sense. It's very rare that we come across, you know, folks that actually experience that, but it happens. Clearly.
It sounds nice, but it's not.
I'm not. Well, no, I know, because
people are like, "Oh, good, you don't get weight," but good, you don't enjoy anything.
Yes,
that's part of pregnancy, to splurge. And if you can't do it, then you're like, "Oh, this is horrible. It's horrible."
And for 9 months, essentially, you're like
The
fasted for it.
whole time, yes.
That's
It's
not
not a
fun.
3 months. It's not the
No,
first trimester for me.
no.
It's the whole time.
Oh, I'm so sorry. Oh
Yeah.
man, that sucks. No,
It's
because
okay. It's old news.
it is. Well, because for me, it's like the first 3 months. That's how I am, and so
Yeah.
it's like, and I hate it. I can't. So in my mind, it's like I can't imagine like
Yeah.
extending that past 3 months.
Yeah.
I'm like, forget it. I don't want to do this no more. Maybe
Yeah.
that's why I have 4 kids, and
Yeah.
and
I,
I'm
I
just
know,
like, oh, okay,
because if I had an easier time, maybe I would feel more prone
right.
to do another one. No.
Right,
No.
exactly. Oh
No.
my gosh. All right.
No.
So
Yeah.
but still, I mean, the point still remains though, like everyone's journey is different, right? And so
Yeah.
like this is what worked for you, and that's awesome. So now you were able, basically what you're saying is that you were able to, you made sure you scheduled it in. Not
Yes.
only did you start
Uninterruptible.
there you go, uninterruptible time. Like not only did you start small, because you're like, my goal is just to show up to the gym. Like, I don't know what's gonna happen once I get there, but I just want to step foot in. And that is so awesome, because usually the goal is a little bit more further. Like, oh, I just want to work out 30 minutes. But yours is like, nah, I just want to open the door and be inside the gym. And that's awesome. I like that. And
because you don't know,
time.
like some days you don't have it.
Yeah.
Like you don't have it. Like some days you're like, and a lot of the times where I was like, oh God, like I can't believe I'm waking up this early and I'm doing this, would be my best workouts.
Yeah.
You know, like it would be the days. Yes, like, oh man, I'm so glad I came. Like literally that. And I think for me, and I'm not sure how everybody feels about this, but I get an endorphin release.
Yep.
So I feel like that, yes, I can do anything kind of thing when I leave. When I'm there, I feel like I'm dying. But then when I'm like, oh wow, and you're like proud of yourself and everything.
Heck yeah.
So it makes the cycle of being rewarding for you, because now you feel better. And especially when you're not so, because it gets very easy to get focused on a number somehow, especially when you're not so focused on that and you're only focused on making it there and just doing whatever you can for that day. Like even if you're going to do it, you know, like not really like I'm just going to be here and just do the lightest weight I can, it still is something. Like it's still something.
Absolutely. Yeah. So now you were doing this. So at what point did you say, hey, I'm going to go into bikini competition?
Okay, well, you're skipping a lot there, baby. Okay, so here's kind of like, you know, social media gets a bad rap, but I'm an old person, so I just got on Instagram
like yesterday.
Well, then, right? So I was still Facebook only. I was just on Instagram, and I started to find bodies in Pinterest and Instagram that I liked, and I started to follow, I guess what they call now a fitspo, like a fitness inspirational kind of person. And I started to change I started to have a more specific idea of what I wanted. Before it was like lose weight and be skinny, and then it was like, well, people with a little bit more muscle look nicer. Yeah. And I started to like quads. I started to like to see triceps and shoulders. Like I like to see some of the
definition.
I mean, yes, I love to see the more muscular feminized version. And in bodybuilding, it kind of it's changed a lot. Like I remember seeing old school magazines when I was growing up of these super muscular women who look like me, you know, and it's like totally different. And here's this class of women that have muscles. They're not overly muscular, but I mean, now that's relative to me because I can tolerate a little bit of higher muscle on a woman now because I have a different brain than some other people might be like, oh, that's too muscular for me. But I liked it. And I was like, oh, this is nice, because really, if you're skinny, and I dropped a lot of weight, but I had nothing. Like I didn't have any, I don't want to say curves. It's more like you're just skinny and flabby.
You weren't toned and defined.
No.
Like, so you were looking for definition and
yes.
And
now I was like, ooh, look at those quads. Ooh, look at those hamstrings.
Like, look at
those
shoulders.
glutes. I know, look at those shoulders. And I love a good tricep, you know? So it's like, now I started to see visions of people that I was like, oh, look at that. And that's really like not necessarily like we were talking about before. It's not necessarily a weight loss story. It's more like a body composition, right? So now your body composition, like, and if we're talking about aging, you're going to age better if you have a better body composition than just being skinny. Absolutely. You know, and if you look at it, different kinds of sports will produce a different kind of body. If you're a swimmer, you're going to have a body. If you're a long distance runner, you're going to have a different body. If you're a weightlifter, you're going to have a different body. And if you're a sprinter, You know, those
Yeah.
women
Yeah.
have amazing bodies. So I started to see that and I started to like it. And then I stopped Orange Theory and I joined a gym and I started to weight train. I had no idea what I was doing. And then the worst thing is Instagram on the negative, they're showing you all these ridiculous exercises, like
Yeah.
weird things that really are not necessary. They're not the basics. And so like I was trying to do those things and I was so confused and I didn't know. And I was still with my let me show up. I didn't know what I was doing in the gym in terms of weight training, because the majority of women in the weight area the majority of people in the weight area are men, not women. So you're
Mm-hmm.
already like, I don't know what I'm doing. Like
Right.
I'm just
Right.
trying to do something here.
Exactly. You feel so
Yeah.
self-conscious already because these dudes are there and they're pumping iron and you just
And
like,
they're looking at you and you're like,
yes, 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 exactly.
By the way, anybody new in the gym, they're not really looking at you like that anyway. So just forget about it. All that self-conscious thing that you kind of get obsessed with, you find out later, like
It's in your mind.
it doesn't even matter. Like you go in your zone and like you don't. So I started doing that. And as I did that, then I got a trainer. Then I got a trainer. And once I got the trainer and I'm following all these women who look good, a lot of them were ex-competitors. They were like ex-bikini competitors. And so they weren't like the shredded version they always are. But then that thing started to interest me. And by the time I started training on a regular basis, I started to tell my trainer, whisper in his ear, like, oh, maybe one day I want to compete. Maybe. And I was like, ooh, and I would like play with the idea. And then,
Right.
and, I saw my body changing and I was lifting weights and I was enjoying lifting weights. And then I was going to the gym at 5 a.m., which I can't even believe that I used to do that. Like literally be at the gym at 5 a.m. And that was, I don't even know how I did that now.
Well,
But
I mean, hey, you did it though, right?
I did it. And I did it. And I did that for a good year before like we decided, okay, we're gonna compete. And once I decided that, like then like it was like, okay, now I have a goal. And in a way, in my mind, it was almost like graduating. Like, okay, you've been doing this for a while, and like this is like your like I don't know, like you know
I
what I
know.
mean?
Yes, it's like
Like a
okay, so
landmark.
yes, it's like you were trying to go to the next level. You were doing
Yeah.
this was fine. So like you upped it up a notch. So now you have something else to look forward to. It just kind of kept the
Exactly.
momentum going.
Exactly. And it was like almost reward, like a reward. Like
yes.
you're gonna strut across the street. And at first, just like before, my goal was very simple. I was like, if I can get in a bikini and stand in front of all these people, that's huge.
Listen, okay? Because I mean you're basically naked. Like
You're
you know what I mean?
You are like naked. You are naked.
You're naked.
Yeah. I mean, you're wearing a thong bikini.
Yep.
I mean, it's like literally you're like naked. So I was like, oh, if I could just did, I had zero expectations, but I will say, like, my husband will not allow me to do it ever again. Like, it was like, if you're looking for something to challenge you in a way that you have to be so disciplined, like, it was 45 minutes of cardio every morning. And in addition to your weight training, so at least an hour and a half in the gym in the morning, and then an additional 30 minutes of cardio in the evening, every day, 7 days a week for 3 months.
Wow.
So, and literally, like, my daughter used to beg me not to go to the gym.
Really?
Yes. She'd be like, Mommy, do you have to go? And I'm like, yes, I do. I used to hate it, man. It was crazy.
Man.
And working full time and working basically a 8:30 to 5:30, 7 o'clock job every day, and still trying to get 6 meals of disgusting bland food in every day. It was crazy. It was crazy.
So you said like you said that your husband will never let you do it again.
No,
like, but
because you're grouchy.
Yeah.
You're grouchy.
Okay. All right.
You're just like grouchy. It's like there's nothing else in the world. There's nothing else in the world at that time. Okay. Yeah, it's your whole life is that. And some people do that for a living. If you do that for a living, it's different. But when you're doing that, all like you're still working and still interacting with people, it's really hard. But I'm glad I did it in retrospect. But I don't know if I could do it again.
So now, what's one thing that you learned about yourself, like in doing that and going through that process?
You know what? It actually made me a lot less judgmental, which is very strange, because when you see what it takes to have abs and you see what it takes to have a body like that, you look at these people flaunting it on the internet and you see like those people, They're
They
not
worked
just
hard.
doing this, like, this is not a leisure thing, like, oh, you can have this body and just be, no. So it made me a lot less judgmental because first of all, what they do is they take photos of themselves at their peak. And then they showed that to you. And then you think, well, why don't I look like this all the time? If you hear I mean, I gave you just a brief taste of what it is, but like what you have to do to get shredded to get on the stage on the last, what we call peak week, it's a lot. You're like shredding water. You're doing all of these things. We were looking through photos, me and my husband, and I looked like I was dying. Like, like I look like listen, okay, we were talking about weight. When I started competing, I was 134, 35. Like when I started my prep, and I got on stage at 115.
Dang.
So I was crazy skinny, like crazy skinny. On stage, it doesn't look that bad, but if you saw me, you'll be like, oh,
Wow.
are you okay?
Yeah, I'd be like, Tammy, what are we doing?
So unrealistic. So it made me less judgmental. And it also made me know that I can be disciplined. Like I knew that I have, disciplined bones inside of me, but to do that, and I don't think I did it perfectly. Like I didn't hit every meal. I didn't hit every workout. I didn't do every single thing I was supposed to do that my coach told me to do, but I did it, and I got first place in my category. So I couldn't, I mean, like it was good. It was like, oh, I have my little sword to prove it. And I was just happy.
No, that's awesome though.
Yeah.
But I mean, like you said, and you've done something that although
I won't do
maybe
again,
but that's something you can say that you did. You know what I mean? That's definitely a story. And you learned something in the process. That's awesome. Anything else that you learned while you were going through that?
I mean, because when you go so extreme, then you know where the middle is. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like when you go like all the way to plain chicken with no seasoning and asparagus. I hate asparagus now because of that. I will not eat asparagus anymore, but like asparagus and stuff like that, like all the time, then kind of you can turn the dial. Like you can say, okay, if I do this much, this is about, you learn like you're barely eating carbs. Like I was eating 1/4 cup of rice. Did anybody look up a 1/4 of cup of rice?
What?
How little that is?
That is little.
1/4 cup.
That's like nothing.
That's nothing. They're basically trying to keep you from dying the whole time.
I know. It's like, right, just enough.
Just enough so you don't die. And because you're eating 6 meals a day, your metabolism is always running, but it's running on fumes. So you're losing weight really, really fast. So it's like, like when you see what the line is all the way in the other end, then you know how to come somewhere in the middle to maintain. Do you know what I mean? Now I know how I know what's too far and I know what is too extreme. Like I can't do that to myself because I want to live. I eat ice cream.
Yeah.
Like I eat ice cream. I have French fries,
Like, I can't eat ice cream if I do this.
Yeah. So that's why I said about the judgment. Now you understand like what it takes for somebody to look like that. Now where the extreme of why people gain so much weight, and I think most people gain weight, especially, and I'm gonna keep talking about age, is really negligence, meaning like you're just not thinking about it. You're just not thinking about it. You're just kind of putting anything in your body. You're not like analyzing it. And once you have that, like I used to count calories once upon a time. Once I knew how many calories are in stuff, I never had to count calories again because I had a general idea. So you go all the way to counting every single thing that you put in your body to having an idea. And if you find that little middle ground where you can play with it a little, that's golden. That's awesome. Like especially your personal place.
Yes. So now, how long ago was the bikini competition?
That was in 2018.
Okay. So now, what have you been doing to maintain since then? Like, what are you doing?
I look at fitness a lot different now. I am much more forgiving with myself, and I also know what weight I like to be at and what I can do when I need to drop a little if I'm indulging too much. But I think more than anything with the exercise is I love trying new things. Like I love trying new things. Like I danced salsa in dental school to really cope with my life because it was stressful, and I started dancing again. Like I have a Peloton. I ride my Peloton. I've done Soul Cycle. I want to do pole fitness. I just started doing a boxing class. I love to try different things. after this, I'm going to go roller skating with my kids. So like, I try to like now make fitness still fun, but I still, and I didn't say this earlier, when I was looking at all those Instagram people doing all, the reality is weight training is basic things. It's like the basic lifts, all that fancy stuff they show you is because they have to keep it interesting on the internet. But the reality is there's some basic workouts that people have been doing since what? Arnold Schwarzenegger, like whatever, forever, right? So
Even
they're
before
trying
that.
to do this to keep it interesting, but weight training is very simple. Like you go to the gym, just read the little machine thing on there, and they're like, oh, this is for this. Just read it and do it. And you like watch some YouTube videos. You could get so much information. I follow so many people's programs all the time whenever I want to change it up. But I, no matter how many new things I do, I always keep weight training as my staple. Like that I'm never going to get rid of, because that is literally what I can attribute to why I can even eat some of the things that I eat, because you burn more calories
with muscle.
Like with muscle. Like that is just facts. Like you like if you have more muscle, you can eat more and you can afford more. Like now when I go on vacation, I don't like bloat up to something and come back. Like I get a little bit, but now I have more muscle, so I can afford a little bit more.
You have a little bit more room.
And for the ladies, just my little PSA, like literally the little bit of muscle that you see me have, that took 5 years to make. Like you're not gonna get like a man by lifting weights. Like you would have to do steroids, literally. So like all those misconceptions about that, once you throw those away and you see that weight training is about being strong, like then I could lift the heaviest weight for the next 2 years and I probably still won't look like a man. Like it takes a lot. It takes a lot.
It absolutely does. And I think, and like you said, when you see pictures and all that stuff, you start having these ideas of, oh, if I start doing this, I'm gonna look like that, and I don't want to look like a man, like those, you know, super buff.
I will say
women.
about you, you always had nice arms.
Who, me?
You. Even when we were younger, you always had nice arms. I'm like, where'd you get these arms from?
Girl, I have no idea.
Lifting weights. What have you been doing?
Girl, I didn't even know what weights was back
then. I know.
And it's funny enough, I used to be afraid, and just like you, I used to be afraid of trying to lift weights. I was like, I don't want to look like a man. Or all that stuff. And I'm like, wait a minute, I don't look like a man doing all this. If anything, my arms look nicer.
I like it. I like it.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much.
Yes. I throw all of those old things away. No.
Man, it's so many. So what else? What was another myth that you had to like break, or like a mental barrier, whatever, that you had to break, like once you started going through all this? What was, speaking of,
I think a lot of the self-conscious thing, like somebody's watching me, I'm not doing good form, somebody, you know, like, because like you're like, you feel like such a novice. So a lot of that, like, oh, like I would see exercises I wanted to try and I'd be scared to try them, as if somebody was going to come up to the gym and be like, that's not right. Like what? Like nobody does that.
Nobody does that.
Nobody does that.
Right.
No, nobody does that. So like a lot of that kind of like feeling like a novice and feeling like, oh God, I'm not doing it as good as that person. Listen, I love hot yoga, and that's one of the things that I do. I was doing pretty consistently before coronavirus, and like in hot yoga, you'll see amazing people who know how to do yoga. Those people might have been doing yoga for 10 years.
Yeah.
So like you comparing your journey to somebody else's is kind of ridiculous, because what are you going to go get their whole story? Even if somebody saw me in the gym, be like, oh, listen, I didn't always look like this either. So, everybody is looking at other people's situation and making all of these judgment calls. And like, I could look at your arms and be like, oh my gosh, what does she do?
Right.
Like, are you kidding me?
And
like,
I'm not
you don't know somebody's story. Like, I was born like this.
Right. And like, it was just there. Like I woke up and I'm like, oh, okay.
So I feel so much more confident now in the gym. I mean, I do know more of what I'm doing.
Yes.
But it's more of like, who cares? Like, you know, like, just stop being so concerned with other people. I mean, that's a part of getting older too. Yeah. But like, stop being concerned. Like, and even if they are judging you,
who cares?
Who cares? That's there. I know, like,
who cares?
If they are judging you and saying, oh, she's not doing, that's not the way you're doing it. I mean, I still have that little voice that says that to me sometimes when I try something new. But then I'm like, really? Who cares?
Yeah. So you basically shut it down. You just like,
you have to.
Yeah, you have to shut it down. You have
to shut it down.
Drive you crazy.
Yeah.
It's gonna drive you crazy.
Yeah.
So what's the one thing that you would tell a mom? So you're a mom, you're a business owner, you're a you know, you have your offices, you're a mother, your wife, and you're doing all the things, right?
Yeah.
What would you say to someone who's like in a similar position and feels like right now they don't have the time, or they can't find the time to make these changes in their lifestyle? What would you say to that
I
person?
mean, you only have the time you make. Like literally, there is time. There is time. If as long as you keep saying I don't have the time, you will never have the time. You have to make the time. Like,
Facts.
and like I said, if you don't make if there has to be a time in your day where everybody's asleep,
yeah,
or somebody's at school, I don't know,
Yes.
whatever your situation is,
Yeah.
whatever, there is a time and you can make it. And I mean, I won't lie, one of my huge things is having a supportive spouse. Like, he is supportive, like, go. You know what I
Yes.
mean?
Yeah.
But there, even if you don't have a supportive spouse, there is time. Because if you keep saying that, there will never be time. There are a million things that we could say that there's not time for, but there is. But you have to find that goal, because if you say, oh shoot, I got to pick up my kid, or oh shoot, I got to get to work, you have to find that time, that no matter what, and that time is not going to be a comfortable time, most likely. It's not going to be a time like you feel like, if I had a choice, I'd go to the gym at 7 a.m. Like, but I can't do that. I got to get to work. I got to make sure my kids get out on time. I got to do I got to eat. I got to get dressed, you know? So that's my ideal time, but that doesn't work for me. But you have to find that time where in the beginning, it's going to be uncomfortable, but you'll find that time. It'll be yours. Like, just yours. Like that, like, we all are busy. We live an American lifestyle. We're always running for something, but you have to find the time, like, carve it out.
Yeah.
Everybody has an hour somewhere. It might be at 3 a.m.
But it's there.
But it's there.
Yeah. But and one thing I would add to what you're saying is that and don't be afraid to explore with that time too. So say, for instance, you thought that, you know, like 5 a.m. would work, and after trying out, you're like, oh no, it doesn't. So then don't be afraid to say, all right, that doesn't work. Let's look at let's reevaluate. Let's look at our schedule again and see what will work better. You know what I mean? So don't be afraid to explore with that, and to find something that works better, like the lesser of the evils, or whatever.
I mean, especially if you're coming from a point where you were not working out. If you were not working out and you're not prioritizing doing those things, you have to forgive yourself. Like, you never did this before. And if you missed, like, to be honest with you, I would rather see someone go 30 minutes every day than go 1 hour once a week.
Yes, absolutely.
Because like, you are building, like I said, like, get your little book bag and walk in. After you walk in, if you want to say, I'm getting the heck out of here, I'm late, it's more beneficial.
They're not going. Yes, absolutely. Because then chances are, once you walk in, you'll be like, you know what,
I'll do a little something.
You're like, you know what, I'm here. Let me at least be on the treadmill for 10 minutes. You know what I mean? I'll make it worth it. But then you did something.
Yeah, and the working out, I think the working out, especially for me, makes me want to eat better. Because the working out itself is not going to make you lose weight. Yes, it will shape your body.
Talk about it.
Less. Because everybody says abs are made in the kitchen and all those things. I don't even care about abs anymore. I threw that away. But
because you have the abs now, so
I mean, but I don't care about that anymore. Like, that's what I'm saying. Like, once you start to like come off of this extreme, because now you see what it takes.
Yes.
And now when you see what it takes, you're like, I want to do that, but I don't have to do all of that. I don't have to do all of that. And there is this little golden place, but you have to be willing to experiment with yourself. There is nobody who knows you and your own life better. I could tell you whatever. And nobody knows you better than you know your own life.
Absolutely.
And if you don't figure that out, I mean, when are you going to figure it out? 50, 60?
Yeah. I know. At least you figured it out, but it might just take you a little longer.
Yeah. Oh, and it's no shade, because because if somebody figures out, at least you trying.
Yes, absolutely.
At least you're trying.
Absolutely, absolutely. Oh my goodness, that was so amazing. That was such a fun conversation. I'm really loving it. Listen, so where can we find you if anybody wants to see pictures? I don't know if you still have them on social media.
I do.
Okay, so where can we find you?
On Instagram, TDennisDMD, because I'm a dentist, boring dentist, but yes. I know.
You wanted to be a dentist since we're in high school, dude.
I know. It's so ridiculous, but yes, some weird children decide to be dentists early on in life. Yeah. But I'm telling you, like, if I am so grateful. I am so grateful to myself. Like, if I could talk to my old self, I'm so grateful to myself for making a decision to try to be in shape, to take care of myself. Because even with my daughter crying to say, don't go to gym, she does that to me now still, by the way. She's like, Mommy, do you have to go? I'm like, yes, I do.
Yes, this is mommy's time.
I'm like, and I'm a better person for it, for the emotional, mental health, for the emotional. Sometimes I go and I'm like, but I just worked out and I'm kind of sore. I go just to clear my mind because, you know, when the day is going to throw a million things at you that you don't know, you need to like, you know, like whatever it is that you have to do to get that like thing. And I'm typically a high energy person, so it's good for me to get some of my anxieties out. So I'm so thankful to, you know, they have quotes about that. I don't know what they are now, but like about thanking your past self.
Yes.
You know, you thank your past self, you know,
yes,
like
right.
I'm telling you, like we as women, like we have to take it so, like we should take it seriously because one day that's going to translate into diseases and other things that we're not interested in. And especially if we've seen our parents go through them, we're not really trying to be like in that, like those
in that space.
No.
That was one reason. That was one of the impetus for my journey because of, you know, my dad had it, you know, he had diabetes, he had heart issues and all that, and that was like running rampant in my especially on my dad's side. And I was just like, you know, I'm not trying to be that.
You don't have to.
Exactly. Especially when those diseases, these illnesses are related to lifestyle choices. You know what I mean? So they can be preventable. You can even if for whatever reason you end up having, you can either manage it at least with lifestyle changes. You know what I mean? And you don't have to be on like 10 medications. It's possible. So that's why I was like, nah, I don't want that to be me. So that was like one of the reasons why I started.
And it's a gift. It's a gift. I know I'm talking too long, but it's
you're not. Go ahead.
It's a gift. It's a gift to your children, I say too, because especially me having parents that have been very, very sick with a lot of things. And it's like, you know, if I could be like, sometimes I'm in the gym, I'd be looking at myself. I can see myself at 65 doing this. You know, like I'm like, when I want them to be like, my grandma, she absolutely. You know, so like 100%. I feel like what a gift to give to your children too, that they don't have to worry about you in that way, that they know that you're taking care of themselves. That's not on a list of stressors for them. You know, so it's like, because it is stressful to have aging parents. So it's like, if you like take it one step further and say, you know what a gift that we can give to our children later on. I mean, but you have to start now.
You do. You have to start. Definitely have to start now. Definitely have to. And not worry about, I should have started before. Okay, you should, could have, would have. Now you have today. What are you going to do with today?
Yesterday is gone.
It's gone. You can't take it back. Start today. Start today.
So,
That is awesome. That is awesome. I love it. Oh my gosh. We can go on forever.
I know. I was like, I'll say a few more things, but not yet. No,
well, if you have any last things that you want to say, that's cool.
I mean, I just love what you're doing because, like I told you before, it's one of those things like, you know, especially when you look too much on social media and stuff like that and see people that seem almost like unattainable, you know, and then they're not real people. I know they try to be real people, but they don't feel like somebody you might know or something like that. It makes it, especially for people starting from a further point, it seems almost impossible. But then when you start coming to see people like you, it gives you a little hope. And literally when I mean, if you see how many YouTube videos I've watched on fitness and health and nutrition, it looks kind of ridiculous. I have nothing to do with it except to fill myself with it. But it's like another nugget, another reason. So anything we're adding to the climate of fitness and health, and anybody who's just sending another little encouragement, that's all good. Like, even if not all the stuff is applicable to you, it's like and fill your mind with it. You know, like not idealize it like, I have to look like her or whatever, but more like fill your mind with this. Like sometimes I'll just look, what are the health benefits of this? And I just look it up, you know, like, like what does celery do to your body? Why not?
Absolutely.
You're just, you know, filling your mind with good things. Filling your mind with things that will keep you one step closer to your goal.
Absolutely.
And just be brave. Just be brave.
Gosh, that's awesome. Speaking of goal, what's your goal now? So you did all the competition, all that stuff. Do you have a goal like you're working towards right now, or are you just doing it just for fun?
Now so now, like I said, I like to make fitness like fun things. I want to do things with my body. Okay. If that makes sense. Like, I want to be able to do certain things. Like, I want to be able to do a split, which I can't do.
Okay.
I used to have, like, you know, like, I want to be able to do things with my body more than I want to see, even though I do have little body goals and like little problem areas but I'm a bodybuilder. I am like a CrossFit person. They're performance people. But like I'm a bodybuilder. So I literally can look at my triceps and be like, I need to work on this. Yeah. Right. So I still have an aesthetic component to it. So like I'm still a bodybuilder. I'm tweaking my body in the way that I want it to look aesthetically, but I'm also very, very interested in seeing what I can do with it. Like, because you get older and you get creaks and things like that. I love it. You really do though. You really do. You really do. Like, yeah. So like now I really look at my body like, ooh, I wonder if I could do pole fitness, and can I go upside down? Can I go a handstand? Yeah. Can I do a pull up? My God, I'm so far from that. But you know, like that's for now, that is, I'm interested in what, if I'm fitter, can I do certain things with my body? I don't know yet what I can do.
Well, and you're in the process of trying to figure it out.
I'm not afraid. I told you I started a boxing little thing the other day. And I'm not afraid to look like an idiot. I'm not afraid to get it wrong. I'm not. I felt like so dumb, but it was like, oh, I never punched anybody in my life, but let's do this.
And you know what's funny? You were always like that. You're like, I don't care. We'll try it out and see what happens.
Why not? That's why I have blonde hair. What are you saying? Like,
like, we'll see what happens. If it's good, it's good.
I'm not afraid of that. So, awesome. Now, and it's good inside. It's good inside to work on things that make you feel uncomfortable.
Yep.
So, and all of it is uncomfortable.
It is. It's uncomfortable until it becomes comfortable. Then it's like, oh, okay, it's not so bad.
Less uncomfortable. Mm-hmm. And then, like my sister, she was getting in shape, and she's like, "Oh, when is it going to stop hurting? It's never going to stop hurting." Right?
This is ongoing.
Harder. Yeah.
Yep.
Hey, it's okay. It's never going to be.
Absolutely.
It's never, be forgiving. Yeah.
That's absolutely true. Oh my gosh, this was so much fun. I thank you so much, Tammy, for joining me today.
I know what we're gonna talk about, but it's fine now.
Yeah. This is awesome. I know. Because she was when we got on first. She's like, I don't know what are we doing, but
I don't know.
Again, that same spirit joined. And look, we had such a great time.
I love it.
You know, she shared her story and we all gained something from it. So thank you so much for sharing. Thank you so much for sharing this spot for me. So guys, I really hope that you enjoyed what you just heard. I hope you it's one of the most important thing I would definitely want to stress is to make your goals start off small. Like Tammy said, her goal was just to show up at the gym, and then she took it from there. If you didn't hear anything else, just hear that part. Like, make your goal, just show up, and then we'll take it from there. Because then I think once you show up and it's like, all right, I'm here, let's do X, Y, Z. So start small. So again, thank you so much. Comment, subscribe, so that when the next video pops up, you'll know, and share with your friends and family and all that jazz. So thanks again for watching, guys. Bye. Till next time.